is Red Hot Reds Live. Here are your hosts, Ricky Logan and Roger Strauss.
Welcome to the Red Hot Reds podcast. My name is Ricky Logan. There's no Roger today. He is under the weather. So it's me solo today. Today we have a special guest. He's notable Reds Twitter fan, Bengals fan, Ohio State fan, Mr. Sirboywonder. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on, Ricky. It's a pleasure.
I wanted to ask you first, just to get started, where did Sirboywonder come from?
So when I was growing up, my mom would always call me by Boy Wonder, and she used to have a big presence on Twitter. But about a couple years ago, I met a big group of folks, and they thought, hey, and one of them was like a Lord. He actually went as his moniker was at the beginning was Lord. And I was like, that's kind of cool. I'm like, maybe I should go with Sir as to add on to Boy Wonder. And
okay,
that's how it came to be.
Very nice. Very nice. We usually start our interview segments with what is your first baseball memory or your first real Reds memory that you have?
So mine is, I didn't become a fan of the Reds till 2010. That was when I really got into it and everything like that, especially with it being the first time they made the playoffs in over 20 years. First time they made the playoffs at Great American Ballpark. But my first memory is when the Reds played the Cubs and Drew Stubbs hit the grand slam in the 8th.
Oh, man.
And that was the first game I remember going to. It was fun, and I've been hooked ever since.
Yeah, I got a lot of memories from that team. 2010 was it was a fun year, just the whole season. There wasn't a whole lot of expectations. When they got Scott Rowland, it kind of the leadership, you could tell there was something clicking. But I really remember 2002 was my first game. I went to, it was the last year of Synergy / Riverfront, and we played the Cardinals. We tried to make it every Mother's Day to go to a game, and we played the Cardinals, and Darryl Kyle was pitching for the Cardinals, and he ended up dying 2 months later.
Oh, wow.
Of a heart attack. So it was kind of imprinted in my brain of my memory of I saw somebody and then he died. But 2010, I went to the game. It was Pete Rose, when they honored Pete Rose for the anniversary of his hit record, and Joey Votto hit his first career walk-off home run, and just the energy in that ballpark. You probably know because you're a season ticket holder. The energy when Ellie had the cycle. And then the energy, just when Ellie does something crazy in that ballpark is just insane. But I'll tell you, when Votto hit that home run, I've never heard that stadium louder. It was insane.
Yeah, I mean, just in the last couple of years, when the Ellie cycle game, for example, I hadn't heard a crowd like that since they were right in the thick of it back in 2012 or 2013. I mean, those moments in the last 10 years have been few and far between. And, I mean, back in 2010, gosh, there would be times I go to the ballpark and just something amazing would happen that year. That team was special. That team, not a lot of people will remember that team other than the fact that they won the division for the first time in over 20 years. But, I mean, I know they fizzled out in the playoffs and they got swept. But, I mean, that team was special. That team was special, at least to me. It was very special
me too.
to me. Because that was the breakout for Votto, too.
Yeah.
Votto went from being a standard on-base guy to being the franchise of the team in the span of that year. And that was his coming out party. And because of that, 20 years later, we're now talking about him potentially going into the Hall of Fame because of it.
Yeah, I love Joey Votto, man. He's probably my favorite player that I've ever had. Kevin in the chat says he saw Ryan Frale's 2 home run game. I was at the game against the Cardinals back when he made just an incredible diving catch that he got a standing ovation for a defensive play. And I'll never forget Marty's call on the radio where Pujols hit a line shot to right center field, and he was already ready to say the Cardinals are up ahead. And then Fraley made that catch, and then they held the runners, and then they ended up not scoring that inning. So like that play, rest in peace, Ryan Fraley. He was something special.
I'll tell you what, I wish we had a couple Ryan Freels right now.
Yeah, the closest one that reminds me of him a little bit is TJ Friedl. But he's not he's not as like sneaky, like fast, and doesn't make the crazy maybe bonehead play, but he's aggressive, and he does remind me a little bit of him.
Absolutely. That's a good comp. I agree with that.
All right. You are a noted Ohio State fan.
Yes.
Walk us through your 2024 season. Like how cool was that to have your team be crowned champions? So
it's funny. So I'm going to kind of categorize it in two ways. One, it was very fulfilling. Very fulfilling. I've heard since 2019 when he took over the job that he is nothing more than all flash, no substance. He can't win the big game. He can't beat Michigan. And in the span of a whole month, he not only beat the number 1 team, he beat the number 2 team, and on top of all that, basically won the whole damn thing after losing to your biggest rival at home when everyone thought you were going to shit the bed against Tennessee at home.
Yeah, that game,
very fulfilling.
Yeah, that game was one that a lot of people thought that they weren't going to get past, and then the Oregon game because of the way the regular season game went. It's got to be cool. Like I'm not an Ohio State fan. I'm not a hater, if that makes sense. I kind of look from afar.
You are one of a very few that are that way.
Well,
you either hate them or you don't.
Yeah, so
it's very refreshing to see that someone has a non-opinion of.
So I have a weird situation. So I'm originally from Northern California, and we moved here. I live in the Cincinnati area on the Indiana side, and growing up, I'm 33. So in the late 90s, I got to see like the Miami Hurricanes, like with swagger, with like Ray Lewis and all that. And then when I became like, I guess, conscious, it was 2001, 2002. I was 9-10 years old. And that 2001 Miami team, in my opinion, is the greatest football team of all time. Them and the 2019 LSU are up there as like the 2 greatest of all time. Yes. And in 2002, 2003, we carried it on, but Ohio State was like right there. And, we go to overtime, and you guys get pressure on Ken Dorsey, and he throws the ball in the dirt, and I am just devastated. And Miami hasn't been relevant up until Cam Ward. Like it's... Yeah. So I don't. Yeah. I had a hatred for a while, but I also hated Michigan. So I'm kind of in that weird spot. But like up until recently, it's probably like CJ Stroud is when I started kind of liking them, and just like their whole like I'm a Christian, so just like their Christian values, the way they're not shy about it. That really rubbed off on me, and I liked it a lot.
Yes, that team. They were leading. They were leading like Bible studies.
Yeah.
Like
they were like baptizing people in the parking lot.
Exactly. And they did not care. They were going to be out about their faith, which more power to them.
Yeah.
Especially like when they lost to Michigan, a lot of people were attacking them because, well, they're all about faith, and the teams of yesteryear were not about it, and they beat Michigan. And it's like that. That's not even that's ridiculous that we're even bringing that.
That's
whole
a bad take.
Yes.
It's a bad take. I look at it as when a rivalry is that big, like you look at Ohio State, Michigan, you look at, I guess you could say Penn State, an a Penn State. It's whoever Penn State in the division, or Miami and Florida State back when those two teams were really good. You prepare for that team more than you prepare for anybody. And,
especially Ohio State with Michigan. That's a 365 day a year thing. I mean,
Michigan's defense wasn't really great, and their offense was terrible, especially after the run they had the year before. And it was a night and day difference. Like the way they played that Ohio State game was they played that game better than any game they played all year.
That will be the game because I was there. Because I went with Harry and I was expecting the whole time, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, I don't know how this Ohio State team loses to that team, because other than Grant and Graham, they don't have anything. And it showed, especially on their offense. I mean, it took them 4 quarters to score 13 points. And you will not convince me that there was something going on with Will Howard. Because when he got hurt and they pulled him and they put Devin Brown in and then he came back in, it's a totally different team afterwards. I mean, Jack Sawyer, God bless him. He tried everything to win that game for them. Even got an interception in the 4th quarter at their own goal line.
Yeah, I'll never forget the call on that where Gus Johnson just completely goes berserk.
And everyone in the stadium thought, all right, finally, we're going to go down the field. We're going to win this game by a score, and we're going to be fine. When they lost that game, that was one of, and mind you, I've been to the game 5 of the 2012 NLDS when Buster hit the grand slam. And I was there, and I remember what the reaction was after that. Gosh. This was just beyond that. This was on a whole nother level. It was just stunning. And it's funny because we were talking about this afterwards, because we were literally like that night, we're going through our head, okay, head coaching replacements. As laughable as it sounded at
Yeah. I mean, everybody on Twitter was just fire Ryan Day. It was
when it comes to that rivalry, it literally is like its own thing. Like that, those two fan bases are so ingrained in that rivalry. When you lose that game, especially when you lose it 4 years in a row, it's a big damn deal. Enough to where you're throwing out silly takes like wanting Marcus Freeman to come be the head coach of Ohio State.
Yeah.
Which was...
That was out there.
That was out there.
We do a segment on here. We do a scoreboard stumper. It's not a hard one, so I'll throw it up here. There are 4 active players who have 220 saves or more. Who are they?
Oh, it's got to be Aroldis Chapman's one of them, right?
Yep, Chapman's one. There's 2 former Reds on there.
Ooh, 2 former Reds. Sorry, I'm just like thinking of the names through my head right as we speak. 2 former Reds. Kenley Jansen's not still pitching, is he?
Yeah, he's on the Angels.
Yeah. Then he would definitely be one. That's the other one.
Harry, keep us posted in the chat.
Yeah, let us know about that. So then there's 2 So I got one of the former Reds with Aroldis Chapman. So there's another one.
They're playing today.
Oh, Iglesias.
Yep.
Yeah, Iglesias is definitely one of them. And who would be the last one? They were 4 what? 4 current pitchers?
Yep, they're pitching active today.
There should be someone. There's obviously someone I'm missing.
He's related to a Reds pitcher.
Yeah. Oh, Diaz. Oh, yeah, Edwin
Diaz.
Yep. What am I saying? Am I kidding me? That was pitiful by me.
And our scoreboard stumper is brought to you by Dubby Energy. Go to dubby.gg and enter the code RedHot10 to get 10% off your order. Dubby is the only sugar-free focused energy drink, and then is delicious. Roger swears by it, and I'll have mine coming pretty soon. All right. You and I said the same thing with Tom when we had Tom on, but we met through Chatterbox at the Chatterbox Reds event up in the boat.
What a fun night that was.
That was a great night. You're kind of one of the like we're kind of like the OGs of Chatterbox off the bench. I didn't chat as much just because I was at work and I drive machinery, so I couldn't really chat. But
yeah,
how did you find them? Like how did you end up discovering them?
So I was just scrolling through YouTube one day, just looking for something because I like to just pop something on when I'm at work.
Yeah,
just to like give me something to listen to as I'm doing whatever. And I just happened to stroll upon Off the Bench all one day. I think it was like probably their 4th weekend. It was really early.
Yeah, I think Sejo was probably still on there.
Yeah, Sejo was there. I don't even think. I'm trying to think if Paul was even on their show yet. I think it was that early. But I just happened to scroll one day, and I just sat down. And I'm like, oh, wow, he's doing something, and wanted to check it out. And I got hooked on that ever since. And I finally found something to watch during the morning.
Yeah, and it was cool because they're local. And they talk our local teams. And then, like, I'm a huge fan of Tom. Like, I was kind of like fangirling it when we had him on, because you listen to him talk and he's got so many stories, and then you realize that he's talking to you and you're like, oh crap, I gotta pull it together. I gotta ask the next question.
Yeah.
But it was cool because like just hearing him again, just being active and doing stuff, and he was very entertaining too on the show. And then I don't know, do you remember like the Casey shot clock where Casey would start talking and then Paul would play the shot clock?
That's great. Or the one time he called him an ex-professional. That was hilarious.
And then teaching Tom, they'd have teaching Tom moments.
Ham and eggers. Yeah.
Ham and eggers, man.
I mean, we posted in the chat every single day, missing old commercials that took forever to run through.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. With the
that show. Yeah.
The football highlights and stuff.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Yes.
So what would you say your favorite memory from Chatterbox is? Would you say like Chatterbox Reds, off the bench?
Oh, off the bench for sure. I mean, there's so many that were just funny.
Yeah.
That were just totally hilarious. But my favorite is every time I would go on there, especially when Ellie came up, I was getting on there just going buying the hype.
Yeah,
and it was just rubbing him
with the credit card.
Yes. Yes.
Oh man.
And that's probably my favorite, especially the day he came up and he's like, Sirboywonder, I'm not going down this road. It was hilarious. It's hilarious. He goes on a tangent for 2 minutes about how you shouldn't buy the hype of players. It's great. But honestly, the only reason I was doing it is because we haven't had a lot to cheer about in the last 10 years. So I gotta buy into something.
Yeah, and it was just cool hearing that fan-driven media, but they were also being like silly a little bit, but also serious too.
Yes,
and
not taking themselves too serious to where they thought they were.
Like Pat McAfee.
Yes, or First Take.
Yeah,
or
but it was they kept it interesting enough to where it's growing still too. And say what you say about Kenner and whatever, but that show. They got a good thing going, and I'm going to support them.
No, absolutely.
Kind of working for them too, but
which is great. That's even more awesome. The fact that you, Alex, many others are getting an opportunity to work or do content with them. It's fantastic.
Yeah, like the OGs.
There's no other company in this town that's doing that right now.
Harry Fire Kenner.
Gosh. Oh no. Hey, sir, why don't you change your profile pic that you've had for almost 10 years? Jeez.
All right. Going back to the Reds a little bit. You are very active on social media.
Sometimes too much.
A lot. I'd say more with the Reds than anything, but you're still like active with the
Yes.
Bengals, active with Ohio State. Do you consider yourself more optimistic or pessimistic?
I used to be a lot more negative about the teams than I am now. But honestly, it's probably because just all the crap I see on an everyday basis anymore that's made me so positive about the teams now.
Yeah.
Where it's like I just get tired of hearing all the negative about how bad the teams are. And it's like at some point you gotta let that shit go. And you just gotta support the team. Like if you're not supporting the team, then why the hell are you a fan of the team to begin?
Yeah, and that's what kills me about like Reds Facebook. Is like you go on like the Reds 4192 group and you just negative posts after negative posts. It's like, why even talk about them? Like we have a segment on Sundays called the Reds Facebook comment of the week. And we've got some stashed just from last week and the week before. Like it's
you could
insane.
find 3 years worth of content just in
a couple
Reds
days.
Facebook. Exactly.
It's crazy. It's a wild place.
Especially when you get the ones that are misspelling players' names.
Yeah,
I've seen Ellie's names, but Ellie Cruz. Ellie spelled E-L-L-I-E-Y or E-I-E.
I-E.
It's like, golly, do you all even watch the games or are you just robots typing? Reds Nation 4192. Don't get trust me.
I only go on there to share
just
like
laugh.
my articles that I write. That's about the only time I go on there. Or if I'm like trying to like low key promote the show. Because I don't like to like spam people with stuff, but I feel like that's doing them a service by doing that because there's so much negativity on there. They're probably like, oh, this is kind of refreshing. They see something nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. But like Facebook has just become too much nonsense, and I get all my news from Twitter. Yeah, I know that's not the most popular thing to say anymore, but
right.
Honestly, that's where I get all my Red stuff, Bengal stuff, everything.
Yeah, and you can kind of like pick and choose who you follow to get your information from too.
Exactly.
Talking more about the Reds, you're a season ticket holder. I've known for the last 2 years you have been, this season and last year. How long have you been a season ticket holder? And do you ever plan on maybe sitting in a different place, or do you like where you're at?
No, I've been a season ticket holder since 2019, and I sit on the aisle in section 143, which I believe is the best. And a buddy or a good friend of mine, his name's Tim McGinnis. He has been an usher there for the last couple of years. And me and him have just hit it off ever since I met him. He's great, knows the game in and out. I mean, I love going out there and sitting out in the outfield because I feel like you get a good perspective of everything that's happening in front of you. And that's just how I always have been about where I want to sit. Like, whenever I want to go to a game, I usually want to sit in right field because I think it's the best section, not just in Great American Ballpark, but in the whole league.
Yeah. Have you been to any other stadiums besides Great American Ballpark?
I've been to 4. I've been to, obviously, Great American Ballpark. I've been to PNC Park, Camden Yards, and then Progressive Field.
Other than Great American, which one's your favorite?
I want to say Camden.
PNC's beautiful.
I want to say Camden, but I think now, especially with my, so like long story short, I used to live there. I lived there for about 4 years. So whenever the Reds would come up and play in Pittsburgh, it would be so easy to go all the time. Especially that back then because the Pirates weren't good. So no one ever went to games. But PNC is probably my favorite by far. If it's not Great American.
That backdrop is just something else. You got the Clemente Bridge and then the city and the Allegheny River. Like I just wish that the Pirates were the division team and I hated them.
Oh, I know. But yeah, like it's just a stunning ballpark. And it's not even just that. Like the food options there are great. Food's not terrible. Like, gosh, I could go into a whole damn segment about how bad the food is here. But that ballpark's fantastic. If you've never been to PNC Park, it's definitely worth the 4-hour trip.
Yeah, tickets are probably pretty cheap too.
Yes.
Yes. Let's see.
We do have an update on Hunter Green. It is apparently a groin injury.
Breaking
Not
news.
great.
You heard it here first. When you hear pitcher removed for injury, my biggest fear is Tommy John. Just when you don't know what it is.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh no, fingers crossed, man. We're just getting crushed right now with injuries.
Especially
it's funny because Roger and I talked Sunday about, are we healthier this year than last year? And it's kind of like a trick question because it's almost like the same amount of players are hurt. But
it's the quality of players.
It's the quality of player. But now it's starting to catch up to where like Fraley's got the calf injury. Marte's got the oblique injury, and now Green with the groin injury. It's like, man, can we just catch a break one time?
Yeah, but you know what, though? You kind of, like, the guys you need there, though, are not the ones really being affected right now. Now, besides, we'll see what's going on with Hunter Green after tonight when they do an MRI. But so far, Ellie, Matt, your main guys have basically been there, which is all you could really ask for.
Knock on wood. Find something.
Yes. And hopefully it stays that way. But so far, so good when it comes to that. And now you got Tyler back, so hopefully that gets going, which so far tonight, so far so good.
And they're currently playing the Braves tonight. I think the score is still 3-0. Last time it was 4-0.
It is 4-0 in the top of the fifth, and they have a runner on with 1 out, and Matt's at the plate.
So I guess keeping it on topic with the Braves, are you going to the Bristol game?
I will be there. I will be at the Speedway Classic.
Where do you know where you're going to be sitting at yet?
I am high up in the Earnhardt Terrace. That is about all I know where I'm at. I know I'm high up. But
I wonder how that's going to work, just because it's being played in the infield, right? And then they have the track surrounding, and then you're going to be up in the concourse. So that's going to be kind of hard, I would think, just visibility-wise.
Oh, it definitely. Oh, for sure. Because Bristol Motor Speedway is like 3 Great American ballparks.
Yeah, it's huge.
It's freaking massive. And it just goes up and up and up and up and up and up.
Yeah.
Just seats everywhere. But it's just, honestly, they're doing all these different games, like the game out the Field of Dreams and Rick Wood Field and all that. And it's like, this is a trip that's doable for me, that's cost effective, and it's only a couple hours away. That was honestly the most intriguing thing to me when they first said they were going to do this. And I'm a big NASCAR guy anyway.
Yeah.
So the whole thing appealed to me, and I thought it was perfect.
So have you been to many NASCAR races?
I've never been to a NASCAR race, believe it or not.
Nice. That's I thought maybe you would have been to Kentucky when they were running races at Kentucky.
That was before I was old enough to actually drive anywhere. To go to races. But yeah, I was never able to make it down to Kentucky.
Yeah, I've never been either. I've always wanted to go. It's kind of hard now just because our closest track's Indianapolis. And then Bristol, I think, is the next closest. And I think outside of those two, you got to go pretty far south or west, I think.
I guess Iowa would be
Richmond,
Richmond,
Virginia, Iowa.
Yeah.
They don't race at Chicago anymore.
They do that. I think this will be the last year of the street course. Yeah. This will be the last year of that.
I guess Michigan.
Yeah.
Harry says Michigan. Yeah, it's probably one of the closer ones.
Yeah, I've thought about going to the Michigan one this year. Maybe.
Yeah. I've always wanted to go to Daytona.
That place looks awesome.
I was 9 years old when Dale died at Daytona on that wreck in turn 4. And I'll never forget it. It was one of those things, like I was in 4th grade, because it was weird because 9/11 happened same year.
Yeah.
And I just remember Tony Stewart had wrecked earlier in the race. And it
very bad wreck.
Multiple times, multiple flips.
Yeah.
And we had the news on after the race, and it came on, and my mom was like, "Hey," my dad said, "Hey, he died," And my mom's like, "Oh no, Tony Stewart," because Tony's not far from where I live in Indiana. He's from not too far from me, like an hour, I think, up near Rushville.
Yeah.
And we had thought Tony, because Tony's raced at the Lawrenceburg Speedway, the dirt track. He's raced down here. Kyle Larson won a couple of years ago on the dirt track down here. So we had all thought Tony died, and then when they came on and said that Dale died, I was like, it didn't even seem that bad. But I guess just the impact into the concrete, not having the Hans devices yet, open face helmet, it just all kind of culminated into just a disaster.
What always boggles my mind is the fact they let three guys perish before they did, or before they even got to that race.
Have you seen that documentary? The three before
very
February.
good.
That's a good documentary.
Brock Beard,
yeah, he's awesome. Him and Eric Estep are my two go-to NASCAR guys.
Yeah, if you want to, if even if you don't like NASCAR, if you
His
just like
content,
docs,
so
good. Especially the one about 500 days before Daytona.
Yeah,
doing the whole silly shit, so great.
Yeah,
so
his last car where he tracks the last place finisher every year. Such a cool series, man. It's
great.
funny because I got away from NASCAR for a long time. It was probably
COVID's when I picked it back up because
that's me too. It was like 2019, 2020 is when I started because I was a Matt DiBenedetto fan for a while because he's from the same area I'm from in California. He's from Grass Valley, which is like 30 minutes from where I'm from. So I was like, oh, I can root for this guy. And then he got in. It was Bristol. He was leading like the last, I don't know, 30 laps or so. And then Ryan Newman threw a block. And then Denny Hamlin ended up passing him and getting the win.
Yeah.
It was like after that race, I was like, I'm supporting this guy. And then he goes to the Wood Brothers. And then he was consistent, but he just never could pull through. And then obviously he's not even, I think he's in Xfinity now, like on like a terrible team.
Yeah, he is.
But I was like, I was heavily into it as a kid, like the mid to late 90s, all the way through probably 2010-ish, up until like the Car Tomorrow. I liked the wing that they had, and then I think it was when Dodge left, I kind of got out of it, and then obviously going into COVID. Chase Elliott coming up and Kyle Larson coming up, Christopher Bell, all the younger guys. There's so much talent now. It's just I'm not a big fan of the playoffs.
I think they're gonna revamp it at some point. But like last year, like the fact that Joey Logano hadn't won a single race until literally like 2 weeks before, and it happened when he literally. I don't know how he had enough fuel to finish that race, especially since it went to like 7 green, white checkers. But the fact that he won that race, and then on top of that, won like one other race, and then he wins the championship. He had the worst, I think it was the worst single season by far of a series champion. And it's like they got to fix the playoffs. I'm all for rewarding wins. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But I'm almost to the point where why don't we just go back to the way it was beforehand, and then have like a 4-team or have like a 4-team championship if you want.
Yeah.
I guess.
I think what I would do if you're going to do a playoff, I think you should have the regular season go all the way through, and then have a 4-race for the finish.
I'm fine with that.
I think that because winner take all, like it sucks because like they're at Phoenix this year, right? And
Phoenix
Fords have been good there, and Chevys have struggled. So like if you can get in, you're gonna get a good chance of winning. But I think next year they're going back to Homestead, so I think that's a good move too.
I think right now this car that they have that they're racing with is just not a very good car. And me and Mouse Cup have talked about it a bunch, where they just need to up. We're thinking even up the horsepower and maybe fix this car even more. But the fact that, like, you go to Phoenix and you can't pass anything, it's like basically 4 hours of just watching guys play follow the leader.
Yeah.
And if you make a mistake on pit road, there goes your race. And that's the only way you can pass. So it's like they just need to fix this car. I just don't like this car at all.
Yeah, I think they tried to be too technical with it. I mean, like
Yes.
back in the heyday, it was basic. I mean, it wasn't a stock car, but it was about as close as you could get. And then teams had total control over everything they did, trying to keep it within the rule books. Obviously, some guys would, finagle with it. You would see like Gordon that one year had that Twisted Sister car. I don't know
Yeah.
if you saw that. It was like,
Yes.
that was wild. But then, like,
Yes.
when you go to a spec car, you're not really, like, they say, like, oh, driving talent's going to prevail. And I think it kind of, like, the initial season, what they have, 16 winners
Yeah. And
before the
22.
playoffs. They had,
Yeah.
it was like, they were talking about what are they going to do if another guy wins before the playoffs. Because
one of them would have been pushed out.
Yeah. Kind of going back to baseball, take us back to October. We get the breaking news that the Reds have fired manager David Bell. What were your thoughts? Who were you thinking they were going to hire? And what was your initial reaction when you saw Tito Francona as the hire?
One, I was relieved because it showed me they finally get it that the guy that they hired 6 years prior to that just was not the guy they should have hired.
Yeah.
I didn't like the move when they made it. Didn't understand the move during the entire tenure, and was happy he was gone when it was finally done. Now, when it comes to coach, or when it comes to candidates, I was not expecting Terry. I was hoping for him, but I certainly wasn't expecting him.
Yeah.
And I don't think a lot of people were expecting it either, especially after what just happened when he had to leave leave Cleveland. I was thinking it was probably going to be Skip, or, gosh, I don't even remember. This just shows you how much I was not looking forward to the process, where I can't even remember all the names that were even on that list. I know Will Venable was a candidate at some point, but Terry was the guy I wanted, because he's exactly the guy I want to manage my team. I want an old school guy that doesn't sit there and look at a computer 24/7 and literally make every single decision based off that computer, or based off what the numbers are. I'm all for using analytics. I think the game has gotten to the point where we're using it too much.
Yeah, I was listening to an interview. I forget what podcast it was, but they had George Grand on. And he said, I agree with what he said. He said, analytics has a place in the game, but it doesn't deserve to be the meat and potatoes. It needs to be the appetizer.
Yes. And I agree with that. And that's basically been my thing from day one since analytics became part of the game. And I don't even think the Reds were using it. I don't think they're using it as well as they should be, or as they could be. Like, I'll give you an example. They have not utilized the DH at all since it's become a thing. They've used it just as a stopgap for guys.
A day off.
Just to give them a day off, and that's not what the DH is for.
Here, I wrote an article back in October when they fired him, and I had a wish list. It wasn't like a strong wish list. It was just based off of candidates that were available, and obviously
Skip was who I
Francona.
thought they were going to hire.
Francona was my one. I was like, so he would be the home run hire. Would he be interested in the job if it's offered? He's had health issues, but he's only had 2 losing seasons since 2000, and obviously the 2 World Series. And then Skip Schumacher, he kind of reminds me of Francona a little bit, just because of how he's not going to throw a player under the bus, but he's also going to, say
Call
a guy made him. Yeah, he's going to call him out. And then David Ross, I wasn't a fan of it.
No, David Ross, no. I mean, it's another David Bell, in my opinion.
Yeah, and then Buck Showalter was kind of like my other old school manager. Just I think just he's kind of like Tito, but not as strong, I guess. But yeah, that was kind of my wish list was, Francona was my number one, but it was just would he even want to do it?
Yeah. And honestly, there was a rumor back when Dusty got canned from the Reds, or basically was told, you got to fire your hitting coach or we're not bringing you back. And then he fell on the sword for, who was it? Brooke Jacoby, I think it was. He fell on the sword for him and he left. The rumor was Terry wanted that job before he took the Cleveland job.
Oh,
well, that's
man.
the rumor. And the fact that they spurned him and went with Brian Price.
Yeah, jeez.
And that was their problem the last two times. They went with guys that had no experience. And it just failed miserably. And say whatever you want about David Bell. Did he have the players' backs? Absolutely. Did he go out there and rip umpires to shreds? Absolutely. Just to show that he was loyal to his players. At what point over the 6-year period did you think if he had the best team on the planet, he was going to get that team to a World Series?
Yeah.
I did not want to be the guy that had to beat the drum for some guy to lose his job.
Yeah,
because that's not what I wanted. Trust me, there are so many other things I'd rather be worried about than worrying about the guy who's managing my favorite baseball club.
Yeah,
but I just never bought into it, and I just didn't. It never panned. I never thought it was going to pan out, and obviously the ownership thought the same thing. So I was relieved when he was gone. Because I didn't think he was going to get him over the hump to the next step. If he was going to, he would have done it in 21. When he had
21 was the team where they should have done something.
Especially they had a three-game advantage going into September. And I don't care if the Cardinals won, I think, what was it? Like they won 20 out of 27 games or whatever it was to get that last spot or whatever. All you got to do is finish 500 and you're in the postseason. You had the best player in the league at the time, at least from a statistical standpoint, of Nick Castellanos. And you had starting pitching like Sonny Gray, Castillo. You had a team that was good enough to go to the postseason. Not win the World Series, go to the postseason. And
they finished third that year, didn't they?
Yeah. They finished
I don't think he's ever finished. Has he ever
70?
finished higher than third?
I don't
think he has. That's sad.
And that's just like when people defend him, I'm like, why? I get it. You got to have players. I understand that.
Yeah, and they went through a couple rebuilds too.
Yes.
But that 21, that was what
that was his third
his third season. Like he should have known what he has. He's comfortable with the players that he has. They were winning games, and then you have arguably, I'd say, a top 7 pitcher in Luis Castillo. You maybe go higher. Just he was really good that year. And Sonny Gray, like you look at the prospects we got back for those guys, like that just shows you how good they were.
Yes,
and to get nothing out of it, not even a wild card spot.
They couldn't even get to a wild card. David Bell's contribution was a 2-game appearance in a COVID shortened season where literally they couldn't score one single run in 13 innings in the first game with your Cy Young Award winner pitching for you. Really? That's our contribution? In the 6 years you were manager? I'm sorry. That's nonsense. It's nonsense.
Yeah, it's sad. I don't like thinking about it just because.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too.
I wanted him to succeed.
Absolutely,
I wanted it so bad because No matter what, like you post it, whether it's a joke or not. You're a Reds. You're playing the song. I'm a Reds fan. That's what I am. Like, it's true though. Like we're just diehard Reds fans, and we want our team to win so bad. And then when they continue to throw out terrible lineup after terrible lineup, and then when they finally get something good, you just don't pull through. It's just
and it's like everyone acts like they didn't make moves to go try to get there. They traded for 3 relievers to fix their bullpen that year. They got Michael Givens, Luis Sessa, and
Justin Wilson.
The
first time.
They went, the first time. Like, they should have done the same thing in 23 too. Them just staying put, at least go do something. Even if it's just getting a reliever, go do something. But to go back real quick, to the whole David Bell thing, and then we can talk about whatever. We can actually talk about something that's more important anyway. But I would have loved for him to prove me wrong and make me look like an idiot to win games. I would have much preferred that than having to sit there and just constantly crap on a dude because he's proven me right. I would so much rather have shoved it right back in my face and say, here, I went to the postseason. I don't know why you're still telling me about how shitty I am at my job. But
you wanted that Ryan Day.
Exactly. And he proved me wrong. And I was so happy to admit that I was wrong about it. Yeah. So happy to admit that. But
I guess kind of transitioning a little bit. I've seen on some of other podcasts and social media that I forget who originally came up with the idea, but it was who would be your Mount Rushmore of Reds players?
Ooh.
I kind of made mine. I'll see if it'll come up.
I like this one. I like this one because I do a top 5, or I've done a top 5 the last couple of years for people.
So here's mine.
Yeah.
I got Votto, Rose, Morgan, and Bench as my top 4. Controversial. You could have had Larkin, obviously, winning MVPs, won a World Series. Eric Davis was very good. Foster was really, really good. Frank Robinson, obviously very good. Who would you say your top 4 are?
My top 4. Number 1, it's Johnny Bench. Played 17 seasons here. Played the hardest position on the baseball field, and is arguably the best player,
greatest catcher of all time.
Exactly, and no one's even particularly close either, in my opinion. He would be my number 1. 2, gonna surprise some people, Joe Morgan. He's the greatest second baseman greatest second baseman in the game ever. Was a huge part of the Big Red Machine. I don't think they win 2 World Series back-to-back without him.
No, I don't think so either.
3, Pete Rose. Played over 20 seasons. From here, has the most hits, most runs. I mean, you can go down the whole list. He would be 3, and then Frank Robinson would be 4. I can get behind that. He would be, I think, in my opinion, he's the most underrated Reds player of all time. Yeah, just go back and look at the numbers that he was putting up with the Reds before he got traded. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and I think if you were to go off potential, I think Eric Davis could have been up there had he stayed healthy.
Yes, and I agree.
I think Ellie has the potential to get on that list. I don't know who he bumps off, but Ellie's got, we talk about it all the time on Twitter. It's just, Ellie has face of the game talent potential. And
he would be number 1 on that list for me if his talent, if he can
come through and have like a 40-40 season or a 30-80 season or something just crazy. And then maybe get close to a 300 average consistently, like 280, 290, and just stay, and then potentially get extended. I'm not too confident on that, but I'm not going to rule it out ever either, just because there's so many weird
praying.
things. There's so many
I'm
weird
praying.
things coming up with the collective bargaining. I think 2027, they're saying there's probably going to be a lockout. And it's kind of leading towards teams not extending players yet. That could be just because if there is a salary cap, they don't want to be locked into that large contract, and they can, I don't know, because it's weird, because how are you gonna have like the teams that already have ginormous contracts with people, then have a salary cap added to it?
Yeah. Well, I feel like if you're signing these extensions now, I think they are. I feel like for Guerrero, for example, I think they had it wrote into it like he's owed that money, regardless of whatever the new pay structure will be when they have the lot, or whatever the collective bargaining agreement will be. Now, going back to the lockout, there's going to be a year-long lockout in a couple of years.
Yeah,
and
sure.
I think the owners are dug in on this, and I think they are going to risk everything to get this salary cap put into the game. Because they know what's going on. Like the Dodgers, for example, the fact that they're backloading like 9/10 of his contract.
Yeah.
And they can do it and no one can do anything about it. Like, what are we doing? The fact that we're year 3 of Elly De La Cruz being on a major league team, and we're already talking about him going somewhere else because of what the pay structure in our game is. It's ridiculous. You don't hear this in other leagues like you do in baseball. You don't hear about, oh, they're just a farm team for the big market teams like Chicago, New York, LA. Like, we're the only league that does this crap, and it's stupid. The fact that we can't afford, like the fact that we're throwing out numbers like $400, $500 million, like it's nothing. Yeah. Especially for starting pitching.
Right.
I mean, Ohtani's getting paid, and right now all he is just a glorified DH.
Yeah. I was looking at Ohtani's contract. You take away the deferred money, he's getting paid $700 million over 10 years. Bob Castellini's net worth is $400 million. You can't.
He literally can't sign Ohtani to that deal.
He would have to literally offer him. He would have to offer him ownership. Like that's all you can do.
Like that, and that's what I mean, the fact that Bob is his, what is it, 400 mil is what you just said.
Yeah.
They can't even offer Elly an extension. You know what? How much you want to bet that if Elly hits his potential, he's going to be the first $1 billion player?
I have said that. That's a take, but it's very
not even
realistic.
that far fetched though.
It's not.
We're only $300 million away from it, Ricky. It's ridiculous.
Juan Soto got more than Ohtani. Can you believe that?
I'll say this: at least Juan Soto plays the field.
Yeah, but
I'm not saying he's worth more. I'm just saying,
like when
the whole DH thing, like the whole Ohtani thing. Like, I'm not even trying to make waves with this.
Right.
Like, without him being a pitcher and hitting, is he really a unicorn then?
You're looking at $450-500 million.
Exactly.
Like, he completely reset the entire market.
Not the highest paid. He's not worth being the highest paid player in the game.
Yeah.
I don't care what anyone says.
I remember when Mike Trout got extended, and it was
was huge money. $100 at the time too.
It was like $100 million more than anybody else had up to that point, and everyone's like, "This is it. Trout's the best player in the game. No one's going to touch it." And then the next season, Manny Machado gets extended for more, and it's like, you're telling me Manny Machado is better than Mike Trout? And this is before all the injuries and stuff too.
Yeah.
And then,
no, he's not.
Yeah,
not at the time he wasn't.
Tatis Jr. gets extended fairly close to that number, and there was who else? It was
him. Judge was coming up at that around that time.
Yeah.
And he got, that whole thing was bizarre. He gets a deal from the Giants, and then he goes right on back to the Yankees.
Yeah.
For basically the same thing. It's just why it's bonkers. It's absolutely bonkers about the pay structure. We pay these guys, like, we're paying them peanuts before they do anything. And then when they do something, We're paying them way more than they're actually worth. It's stupid. Now Now let me ask you this question: Do you honestly think the players are willing to go more than a year on this lockout over this salary cap?
If they're not getting paid, no, there's no way.
I'm trying to find a way where the players have any leverage over this. I don't think they do.
I think the only leverage they have is that they are the ones that's the product.
Yes.
But I mean, ownership, I mean,
they're just
they
hold
the key. I mean, it's good. It takes all of them getting together.
Yeah.
And I'm going to assume the Dodgers don't agree with it, but
of course not.
I mean, you're basically begging teams to be sold to billionaires, and then you're going to have every team. You're going to have 15 teams in LA, 15 teams in New York, and they're just going to compete. We're going back to the 1800s.
Exactly, and it's just I don't see a way where the players are going to be like, because I know they have Tony Clark and whoever at the Players Association. They always throw out, "Oh, that's a non-starter with us." Well, if you're not playing for a year, at some point you're going to have to either cave or go do something else with the rest of your life. I mean, you can't like these especially from what I've read over the last couple of years on this, I think they're hell-bent on getting this done. And I think they'll stop at nothing to get this done because they know they need it. Especially for example, Miami. They're paying, I think it's like $82 million this year for their whole roster.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. Dodgers are paying $331 million. What are we doing? It's stupid.
Yeah, there shouldn't be that much of a discrepancy. See, now the Reds are up 4-2. Matt Olson singled into center field. Austin Riley scored.
Yeah, Taylor Rogers. Oof. Oof.
Yeah,
they need Rhett Lauder back like yesterday.
Yeah, I guess this is going to tie into my next question. Me and Roger did an episode early on talking about the bullpen and just kind of like the state of the bullpen. What do you see? I mean, obviously Pagan struggled yesterday, but he's been fairly good. I think he's earned the closer role. And then Ashcraft, I think he's earned a back of the bullpen role. Outside of, I guess we'll go with call it the big three: Santiago, Ashcraft, and Pagan. What kind of changes do you think? Would you consider if Burns earns his way up, putting him in the bullpen if we still have like starters? Like, let's just say hypothetically, we have Hunter Green, Lodolo, Abbott, Lauder, and then if Petty can get back and not had what he had his first game, like, would you consider having Burns in the bullpen, kind of like a David Price when he came up with Tampa, and then obviously next year getting him in the rotation?
You know, that's funny. That's the first time I've heard that actually been thrown out there yet.
This stuff's electric.
I don't know though if I want to throw him in as a reliever though and screw up his whole
maybe even as a closer. Like, just toss him in ninth. Like, you got you're back. Let's just say September. You're back of the bullpens. Yeah. Maxwell, May, Burns, and you could even rotate those three as closer. But you could have those three as your back.
I guess I wouldn't be that. I guess I wouldn't be against it. I don't know if I don't love it.
I don't love it.
But I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
I guess. Because then it's like, okay, well, then you put him in the rotation. You do the same thing with Rhett Lauder or whoever is in the rotation besides Lodolo and Green. But yeah, I'm not against that. I'm not. That sounds okay.
And I guess I got two more questions for you. What is, I guess, as we are up 4-3 now, going into the top of the seventh.
Taylor Rogers. I'll tell you right now, I know who the move is when Rhett Lauder comes back. Nick Martinez to the bullpen. Taylor Rogers
out.
See ya.
Yeah.
See ya.
We're 30 33 games in, I think.
Yeah.
Get my math right. What's our record? 18 and 19. That's what, 36 games?
Yeah, it's about right.
Roughly. I'm not.
Yeah.
That's Indiana math.
Who's counting? It's
what is your state of the season a month and like 2 weeks in?
I would be lying if I said I wasn't a little disappointed how it's gone so far. I think there's just been so many winnable games that they've just blown. Like, I mean, we could go all the way back to the first week when they played the Rangers. Should have won that series.
Yeah. 3 straight and 1-0 losses.
Yeah. Should have won the Brewers series even.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, the fact that they can't just beat the Brewers, that's like a whole nother topic. But I really thought that was like David Bell voodoo, and I thought that was going to change.
Yeah.
Especially the first week. But it's just something about the Brewers, man. But they lost those 2 series. And then they, like, get back on this hot streak and start beating everybody. And then last week, I got to admit, I was stunned. When I walked out of there Sunday, they should have beat the Nationals. Why they couldn't beat the Nationals in 2 games out of 3 is beyond me. Because it was right there for them. It was literally right there. We start the week before we play the Cardinals. We start a game out from the Cubs, and we had an opportunity to take not only just to get there, past the Cubs and be leading the division by the end of the week.
Yeah,
we literally lose 2 games on them, and we end up being 3 back. It's just God. We can't take when we're right there. Yeah. We snatched defeat from the jaws of victory, and it's just golly. We need an outfield. That can't be stressed any more than everyone on Twitter, wherever has said. And we just need some consistent hitting. No more let's score 20 runs one game, 0 runs the next.
Yeah.
It's absolutely killing us.
So I guess with final question, you're in your mid-20s?
Yes.
Do you think you will see a Reds World Series in your lifetime?
I don't know. I really don't know. There are times where I see what this club does, and I'm like, okay. Yeah. I like what I'm seeing. Like, for example, last November and the whole offseason, I like the moves they made in the offseason. I thought they made some really good. The fact that they were able to flip Jonathan India for a guy who threw the most innings on his staff.
Yeah.
For basically just straight up and throwing Joey Weimer. That's an underrated move that no one was talking about. And I still argue is probably the best move they made the whole entire offseason. Then you have Austin Hayes, who you bring in, who was an all-star the year before last when he was hurt, but still was an all-star in 2023 and did well with the Orioles. I liked him on the Orioles a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Because I would watch them too. Whenever the Reds were off, I'd always watch the Orioles. And he was good. He was good for them. So when they brought him in, I was like, wow. They got some pieces here. Gavin Lux, his eye reminds me a lot at the plate, reminds me a lot of Joey Votto in a sense, where he just grinds at bats out like it's nothing. They have pieces here. They just need a couple more. And it honestly, it almost brought up this idea. Let me run this by you. Everyone keeps talking about Tyler Stevenson and how they want to make him a DH or a first baseman. In my opinion on this team, there's only one spot for him. It's to be a catcher. If you don't see the value of him being a catcher for this team, maybe you should consider trading him and getting something that we need right now to help this team.
I could see it only because we haven't even offered him an extension yet. And what's he have? Another year of arbitration?
Yeah,
and then
he's coming up.
Be a free agent.
He's coming up.
And it's funny because they were so quick to sign Trevino to an extension when they brought him in.
And yet they're not, and they haven't even seemed like they haven't even broached the subject with Tyler yet.
I don't hate it, but I still think he adds something if he was a DH. But that's also, as of today, you have Spencer Steer underperforming. Matt McLain's going to figure it out.
Everyone's worried about.
It's a sophomore slump. He's just a year later because he missed the whole year.
He had the same surgery, just not as evasive as Joey Votto.
Yeah, it's going to take time, and I think him coming out strong was just a huge surprise.
Exactly, I was shocked.
Yeah,
I
me
thought
too.
it was going to be. I thought it was going to be every bit of 3 months before we saw him get going.
Yeah.
And we're only a month in. So.
Yeah, and like people forget, like we're still it's May 7th. Like there's so much time.
Yeah.
And it's social media with baseball is so difficult. With football, you play 17 games, you lose 2 in a row. It's tough. But with baseball, you could lose 10 out of 25 or whatever
and be okay.
It's just
gosh, I would take that right now.
Right.
I mean, are you kidding? I would absolutely sign up for that. Every 25 games we lose 10?
Yeah. Or maybe flip that and every 10 games you win 10 out of 25 or whatever. But
yeah.
I guess with Stevenson, like he's a very good contact hitter. It's just last night having the platinum sombrero wasn't good.
Yeah.
But he's also 4 games back. Like he came.
He
back
hasn't even been
Friday.
back a week yet. He hasn't even been back a week yet.
And I guess my thing is what are they doing with like Will Benson? Like you have Hurtubise, who was batting 9th in Louisville, batting like $1.94. Yeah, I get it.
Bring him up.
And Benson's kind of cooling off a little bit. He homered today.
Yeah, I saw that. I think it was 114 off the bat. That seems to be his deal. He either hits home runs or he does nothing. Which honestly, at this point,
we need that right now.
What does it matter?
Yeah,
if he wants to come up here and struggle, I mean, Jesus, we can't. Blake Dunn can't even swing at a pitch down the middle. I mean, a lot of guys on this team can't do that right now, but him especially, and he's not even hitting over 100. I don't think. I don't even know he's hitting over 100.
One final take that I have, and we talked about it on our Sunday show when we have a 3 up, 3 down segment where we talk about 3 prospects on the rise, 3 prospects on the slope down, and we included Reese Hines on our up. But I had an argument to where like we could include Will Benson every week, basically. And my take was, and I kind of heard Trace and Nick talk about it last night on the postgame show when they were complaining about Hurtubise and everybody, being called up.
Yeah.
And they were like, if you're not going to use him, like, why a team like the Rockies would kill to have Will Benson right now. And I guess my take is are they stashing him down there to use him as a trade piece? Because he's had multiple opportunities to come up, and he had the one game, they flew him out west. He struck out 3 times up against a Hall of Fame pitcher, and then a reliever comes in and strikes him out again. And it's like you get one chance, and Noelvi Marte got used as a pinch runner. And then Matt McLain gets hurt, and then he gets his chance, and he comes and he performs, thank God. But Benson never even really got a shot. So it makes me wonder, because he still has an option left. He might have 2 options left. He's got at least 1 option left. Like, are they stashing him to trade him for? But like for who?
There were 2 guys I was looking at, because I've been starting to look at. Because I mean, I know it's early. But honestly, it's never really early if you think about it. But if there were outfielders I wouldn't want Cedric Mullins, because I don't know if Baltimore's going anywhere, and they're going to probably be looking to dump him at some point. Yeah. Because I think this is the last year of his deal too. I think he's a free agent after this year. And Brenton Doyle.
Oh yeah,
Love Brenton Doyle.
yeah.
That guy in Cincinnati would be great.
Would you move Friedel to a corner spot, or would you include him in the trade?
No, I'd move him. Friedel, like it or not, Friedel's the only good thing about our outfield right now.
Yeah, we need somebody with an arm, and like I think
Yeah.
Hayes is the only guy with an arm. Like
Yeah.
as Trace says, we got a bunch of noodle arms out there. And
Yeah, and he's
the
not
play
wrong.
yesterday with Fraley throwing it to McLain and nobody telling him to throw it that just summarized everything about last year.
This is our outfield core right now. Blake Dunn, Reese Hines, Will Benson, TJ Friedel, Jake Fraley, Austin Hayes, who's not even hurt or is not even healthy, and
Jacob Hurtubise.
That is our outfield depth from Major League team to AAA team. I actually thought about this today. Why not bring Hector Rodriguez up at this point?
Like why not?
351 right now in
Just
Double A.
Skip AAA, just bring him straight up.
What's the worst thing that could happen?
I've made the argument with Austin Hendrick. Just maybe he goes on a Reese Hines run.
Austin Hendrick. Gosh,
hey, we're a pro
Chattanooga.
Austin show. We're Austin Hendrick, Austin Hayes, Austin Callihan. Just name all Austin wins. We're pro Austin on this show.
I went down to Chattanooga last year to watch him play, and let me tell you, I don't even know if awful is the right word for it. It was so bad. I get it. Like, when they picked him, it was obviously during COVID, and he was a high school player. So, obviously, it was going to take some time. But, man, did they swing and miss on him.
Yeah,
I just never got it going.
I have a soft spot for him. Just like
I do, too. He got thrown into a really terrible situation.
And I've said it multiple times on the show, but I'll go ahead and repeat myself. You know, he 2020 COVID, like, Pennsylvania shut down all their sports, so he didn't even get a senior year of high school. They drafted a junior in high school, and then 2021 they kind of revamped the minor leagues, and he goes in and hit a couple home runs, but never really hit. He's done up until like I think this past week he had like an over 12 streak. He hit a home run today. He hit they put him up 2-0, but yes. Kind of hit better this year compared to the last 4 years.
I saw he was hitting in the, I think,
mid twos. It was like 270, I think.
Yeah, because he was hitting like 180, I think, last year.
And I'm in no way comparing him to Tyler Stevenson because Tyler Stevenson's a way better player.
Oh, absolutely.
But Stevenson got drafted in 2015, and he made his debut in 2020. 5 years.
Yeah.
Austin Hendrick was drafted in 2020, and we are in 2025. Take away his senior year of high school, give him an extra year to develop. Technically, next year you can make the argument could be
that's been a little long.
Year.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying.
I'm not going to give up hope until 2027. It's just 7 years in. If you're still batting no more than 212, $189, couple home runs, I'll give up on you. But he's not a bad defender.
He does. I'll say this about Austin: the couple times I saw him down there in Chattanooga last year when I went down there, he did have an arm and he showed it off.
Do you move him to AAA just to get him with a better hitting coach? I mean,
why not? I mean, at some point, we're grasping for straws.
We have no outfield depth. You go down all the way down.
Our best outfielders are literally in Double A and Single A,
and in the Dominican Summer League. Like we have a top prospect down there in the Summer League, Adolfo Sanchez. We got him the year prior in the international free agent pool. And then you got guys like Ariel Almonte, I think he was batting like 089 up until yesterday. I think he had a home run yesterday or the day before.
And then you got Confident and
Orlon Confident and then Hector, Carlos Jorge. Didn't he transition to the outfield?
I think he did. Yes, I think he did.
But there's not like
There's not like a
there's
bona
not a
fide
guy.
outfielder.
There's not a guy. And
where you point at that guy's going to be good.
Like catcher, we have no catching depth all the way down to single A, and that's Alfredo Duno.
I'm excited about him.
Oh yeah,
awesome.
I
can't wait. When he goes to Dayton, I will be up there.
Oh, for sure. Me and Roger said that we're going to go down there.
I love that guy. That's going to be my new Ellie. That is going to be my new Ellie when it comes to prospects. I love that dude. That dude looks solid. He looks like Salvador Perez.
I was going to say, he looks like Salvador Perez mixed with Gary Sanchez.
Yes.
Like, I see that.
Hopefully more Salvador than Gary.
Yeah, especially with the longevity.
But, man, I'm excited about him.
Yeah.
But, it brings me back, though. What are they doing to Edwin Arroyo?
Right. Is he going to be a trade piece, or what are they going to do with him?
There were a couple guys I saw on that prospect list. You got Chase Petty, who I don't know if teams are going to look at that start he had when they brought him up as anything. I mean, if I was a team, I wouldn't. I would just chalk that up as to his first start. You got Connor Phillips, got Edwin Arroyo, and Rhett Lauder in a way. It depends on how you feel about Chase Burns. Because not everybody can be a starter in this rotation. At some point, you got to have an odd man out.
Mm.
That could be Andrew Abbott as well. I don't know. But you gotta give something up to get somebody, is what I'm basically saying.
So I think I saw where they just updated the top 30 per team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Duno's number 7. Arroyo's number 5. Cam Collier still like I have like a pipe dream where
he goes to the outfield.
Or South Stewart.
Or can any of these guys except Chase Burns and Rhett Lauder go to the out? Yeah, I've heard South Stewart's name being mentioned by potentially going to the outfield.
Because
you're gonna move Noelvi to make room for him?
I'm not. I think Noelvi has really good potential at third. He's just got to figure it out.
Yeah.
I have a pipe dream to where, and this is in no order of a batting order, but you have, Elliott short, McLain at second, Encarnacion Strand at first, and then Marte at third. And then
you bat Steer DH, I guess.
Well, I was gonna say not even have Steer, and you would have Stewart in left, Collier in right, Friedel in center, and then I guess
you trade Steer.
Trade Steer, I guess. I don't know.
You know what? Why? Yeah, you almost could throw his name in there too, in a way, because he's another guy that's a man without a position per se. Unless you think he's a first baseman and you think he would end up being a lot better there than CES, then you'd move CES to the DH.
Or you could have Collier play at first and then have Steer in the outfield and have either Stewart or Collier in the outfield with Steer.
Collier's in Double A.
Yeah, they're saying he should be back within like 3 weeks, I think.
Yeah, I saw him ramping up activity to where he was getting ready to come back. I don't know how Rhett Lauder didn't start last night. I knew he had to start for the Arizona League out there in Goodyear. I think he, ironically enough, he played Clayton Kershaw.
Yeah.
Which is wild.
They were like, there's no way they're going to throw Sheng-En Lin up against Kershaw.
Yeah, I did see that. So,
well, I guess. Do you have any parting words you'd like to say?
No, this has been fun. Thanks for having me. This has been real fun.
And you're more than welcome on anytime. Anytime you want to come on, shoot us a DM. We'll find a way to get you on. We're kind of struggling for guests. I was on a hot streak. I name a person. I was getting them on, and then I kind of shot too high. I went for some people that are just kind of way above what
You'll find your way, Ricky. Maybe I'll have to come on when Reed Mouse is on. Then we can go back and forth about his Cubs and how awful they are.
We do have him lined up sometime towards the end of the month when they play the Cubs.
It's coming soon.
I'm not sure if we're going to do Sunday or or Wednesday, but we're gonna get him on one of these
Coming
days.
soon,
but,
Ricky. Those
yeah,
clowns
coming
from Mason
soon.
will invade.
Well,
Cannot wait.
Go follow Sirboy on Twitter, Sirboywonder513. He's got all your Bengals, Reds, sometimes NASCAR, Ohio State, all your local sports. Really, he's super fan on the internet, and go give him a follow.
Much appreciated. Much appreciated.
I appreciate you coming on.
Absolutely. Great as always. Love to be
Sirboy
back.
Wonder. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, bud.
What a guy. Go follow us on YouTube at Ohio Sports Talk. Thanks to Jordan and Doug for giving this platform for this opportunity. It's been a lot of fun. I never saw myself as a podcaster, and here I am. Go follow us on all of our social medias. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all of that, at Red Hot Reds. And thanks for joining us. And we'll be back Sunday for our live show. And Roger will be back too. Go Reds.
We're the Reds. Red Hot.